you very much, Navik and Jules, for that great build-up. I feel like I'm going to start. I will not recite all the names of the visitors, but I might mix up the names and more important the ages. I will only focus on one acknowledgement. This is for my former favorite congressman, now my favorite senator, Senator E.G. Ingona, who has been a consistent partner in the advocacy for better, more transparent, and ensuring also that the Pera ng Taumbayan ay mapupunta sa Taumbayan. Thank you very much, E.G. The other institution which I would like to publicly acknowledge, of course, is the National College of Public Administration and Governance. Even as I have been out in the streets or under the streets, underground, and NCPAG has always given me a warm institutional home where all my friends, my colleagues are. Thank you very much, Inco. Alex Brillantes also is here, former dean, and all the previous deans of the College of Public Administration. Without their support, I will not be able to do what I do, not only teach, but also bring the results of what I learned in my researches and studies and put them into action, because that is what good public administration is all about. Many of you here are students of public administration, and all of you have been taught by your teachers that this is not just a theoretical academic field of study, it is a field which is practice, and it draws off from theory and practice, and we all urge you to do this future cabinet members, future members of Congress, students. Probably you think that I am just trying to flatter you, but Senator Recto was a student here at mine, Herbert Krista, Junjun Dinay, many congressmen and congress women. I, of course, another favorite senator who I visited yesterday, our leading alumnus at this time, Senator Leonor Briones, is a graduate here. Adele Amaro is a graduate of this college. And if I look at the faces of the faculty members, mahala talaga yung ilan ko, because many of our senior faculty members are also students of mine. So in a sense, the new faculty members are already my grandchildren, because the teachers at this time were also my students. So I have good news and bad news. Start with the bad news. Bad news is that I have more than 60 slides. After all, I'm 70 years old and I have been teaching for 50 years. So 1 year, 1 slide for each year. I'm joking, of course. But I have good news. The good news is I will try very hard to read all of them. And I promised Jim is very, I met him when both of us were, I was 30 pounds lighter and Jim was how many pounds lighter? Jim was very, is a leading authority, international authority on public finance and accountability. I was then with the Commission on Audit. Jim Hamilton is from the U.S. General Accounting Office, which is the counterpart of the Commission and Audit. And all these years, we have had more than 30 years of friendship and comparison notes of what is happening all over the world in terms of financial management. So very quickly, I'll try to be as quick as possible. Don't worry. I'm used to lecturing to my husband and to my son. And now I have a 7-year-old I'm able to lecture to. I'll try to be as fast as I can. First, I'd like to acknowledge that this study, which the results of which are all a bigger part of the lecture, were undertaken at the initiative of Dr. Again, an alumnus of UP-NCPAG, Dr. Boyle Dia, who is head of the governance unit of the United Nations Development Program. And his right-hand person, of course, is Pam Mendoza, who is currently a student, and I threatened her that she has to come because she's still in program. Okay. describe the methodology because all of us are taught methodology in research. But the important thing, aside from the methodology, aside from the focus group discussion and the research of the survey of literature, the important thing is you have to use your judgment when you analyze. And so I'm using judgment based on accumulations of researchers. I first wrote my first research paper maybe 30, 40 years ago. This is on graft and corruption in the Bureau of Internal Revenue, and until now it is used in Harvard University, and BIR reads it every so often. More on my experience in teaching public finance, actual practice as secretary to the Commission on Audit, and then also as vice president of finance for the University of the Philippines. So, auditing, as vice president, we were generating resources, and as treasurer of the Philippines, I was also involved in the generation, not only in the generation of resources, but in the management of these resources as well. We have a general impression that treasurers keep money because that's what kindergarten class treasurers do. Class treasurers do, they keep the money. But treasurers of the country invest the money, they use the money to earn more funds, and they also manage, of course, this bigger responsibility, the debt of the country. But aside from all these experiences in government, my judgment is also shaped by equally 50 years of perspectives on citizens and people's organizations, which I am now very much involved in. This is Social Watch Philippines. And if you go back much further, a number of people are researching into my life. They know that I have been in UNDP. All those letters of the alphabet, Letter Russell is formation, now Social Watch Philippines and KAAKBAY. Equally important, I will be speaking as a member of the Bobo tribe of North Cotabato, Dibayo, Talinapan clan, and I have the rank of Bayo. Because it's very important for me, part of my advocacy is growing in, bringing in the minorities, the Muslims, the indigenous peoples who are shut out from whatever decisions we make on public finance. Very quickly then, I go to some concepts. I will not dwell very long on them because all of you have taken a public finance undergrad or undergrad level. By the way, I'd like to recognize Prof. Leonor. Would you like to join us? And so I'll share with you certain basic concepts in public finance. There are many definitions. If you go to Google, and you always Google in class, if you go to Google, you can have hundreds of pages of definitions of public finance. But what I always teach my students is what is public finance, is the inflow coming in of resources, taxes, sales of properties, etc., licenses, and the outflow of these resources, hopefully managed well, hopefully bigger, to achieve public objectives. So never forget that the object of public finance is the attainment of public objectives. Now, citizens' participation, in my study, I draw very heavily on the concepts elaborated by Dr. Manuel Dia of UNDP. He did his doctoral dissertation on people's participation, and this is a very extensive treatise on the various dimensions of people's participation. But I moved from people's participation in this study to citizens' participation. Dr. Bandia looks at people's participation in terms of the basic sectors, the peasants, the workers, etc. I have broadened it to define citizens' participation as those who also advocate, protect, enhance the rights of the basic sectors, but they may necessarily come from other sectors like the professionals, like civil society organizations and NGOs. So I will start from there. Okay. So now, this is because you will notice that many civil society organizations always include the basic sectors. Many professional organizations have frequent dialogues with basic sectors and with civil society organizations. So I broadened the notion of citizens' participation to all citizens of a country in the case of the Philippines. Now, I make a very important statement here. I'm sure none of you will disagree, and since most of you are my students, I will get your grades back from you if you disagree, or I will not give you your grade if you are still enrolled under me. Okay. Right now, it is fashionable, it is very also to talk about people's participation, citizens' participation, and our partners, and Jim is here, our partners, the bilaterals, the governments of the different countries, and the multilaterals, World Bank, IMF, encourage citizens' participation. So it's very also. But what I want to emphasize is that we have been involved in citizens' participation even forever and ever, even before I was born, and I'm already 78 years old. Because citizens' participation goes back to the traditional community practices, where members of the community participate in the important decisions of the community, or of the village, or of the country. So before the coming of the foreign invaders, we were involved in citizens' participation. But these traditions were suppressed during the colonial period. Last night I was watching this documentation about Jose Rizal, and it's very nakakaiyak how all these ideas happened in Spain and the end was shot and so on. These traditions of people insisting on being part of national decisions were suppressed, of course, during the colonial period, and also marginalized during 18 years of martial law regime. And perhaps this explains why when we talk citizens' participation, people's participation, public participation, we think it is a new invention, when really it is not. Also, we have to bear in mind that citizens' participation is explicitly provided for in all our constitutions, particularly the 1987 constitutions. So there, concepts. Now, some questions which I try to answer in the study and which I will deal with in the paper. First, when we talk about state finances, we talk about the 1.6 trillion budget. When we talk about attendance fund of 1 billion, when we talk about travel expenses and so on, the question is, where is the money coming from? Kanino nang gagaling ng pera? The question is, who bears the burden of maintaining the government, whatever government is doing? The second question which I would like to deal with, and of course you know the other's answer. Any undergrad will say, of course money comes from us. Because all of you pay taxes, maybe pay taxes, because we all pay VAT. And much of the revenue of government comes from the value-added tax. So it's coming from us. But where is the money going? Who are the major recipients and the objects of government expenditures? Who benefit from the money which we, all of us, every single person in this room, every single citizen in this country contribute? Because of VAT, all of us, whenever you ride on the Jeep, and you know that, when you drink your Coke, when you eat, you go to the movie, you make gimmick and cut classes, or you go shopping in any of the shopping malls, or you have your beauty treatments, you all pay around VAT. The third is, if the money is coming from us, and the money is supposed to go to us, who makes the decisions as to who gets what? And that is what politics is all about. That's where who gets what, when, and where. So who decides how the money will be allocated? And so kami in Social Watch, our slogan is, Pera ng Taumbayan, para sa Taumbayan. The money of the people should go to the people. Now, very quickly again, since all of you are familiar with this, especially the students, and review for those who have taken Economics 11 and Public Finance 11. Okay, so what is public finance all about? My former boss, and I never forget what my bosses say, because I had the fortune of working with very, very good bosses, excellent bosses who taught me that. I learned from Chairman Tanfito of the Commission and others about what he describes as the public finance cycle. Now, when we talk of public finance cycle, it's not really a cycle as things happening one after the other. These are largely simultaneous events, but for purposes of discussion, we always describe it as the public finance cycle. First, this is foremost, and bear this in mind when you look at what government does. First, of course, is the formulation of the policy. You have to have a basic policy. You have to have a basic plan. Now you ask yourself, do we now have a plan? Hopefully it will come out in February. Okay. So what is fiscal policy? My students always joke, fiscal policy, and that's what fiscals do. And Jude is smiling because he's a lawyer. And the other said, fiscal policy, that's fiscal policy. When you fix things, okay. So it's what we call the mix of policies. I always tell even my undergraduate students that the formulation of fiscal policy is like cooking. The important thing is how you make it in plan, how you have the mix, the timing, and so on. All of those you cook, and I'm looking now for